Hello, today we're here with Shivani ma'am to discuss career counseling. So ma'am, what is career counseling?
So career counselling is helping anybody identify a career of their choice, identify a career based on the employability. And so therefore it involves understanding your interest, understanding your aptitudes, and understanding things that you're naturally good at.
Alright, so since we're doing this from the Vidyalaya Foundation, we were planning to bring up special needs right now. So in your opinion right now, what would you consider a special needs child?
So, ideally for me, every child is a child with special needs because every child has different needs. No two kids are the same. So every kid is a special kid. But I think in the context that we're speaking, we're talking about children with maybe some form of learning disability, hyperactivity, ADHD, ADD, autism, and various other challenges. I think for the purpose of this interview, we should keep it to maybe understanding the child who is supported in a mainstream school in some way or the other. They may have a scribe, they may get extra time, they may have a modified syllabus, they may have one-on-one teaching, they may have been allowed to drop certain subjects and choose alternative subjects. So I think we should, for this, keep that as the special need. Any child who gets a special course of study and a different method of teaching is a special need child.
So in that case, is there any test in career counseling that has parameters for children with say learning disabilities?
So that's the unfortunate part of this whole thing. There's a lot of career guidance going on. There are lots of tests which are available to kids today. I think every third person claims to be a career guidance person, but not a single test, or at least a standardized test, takes into account the child with special needs. If a child has trouble reading and writing, then that test has to be geared to allow that child that leeway. Maybe somebody has to read it for that child. Maybe somebody has to write the answers for that child, explain the question to the child. And these are timed tests. So it's very hard. So I don't think there are any tests that are authentic enough
to cover these.
That's right.
So in that situation, one of the most important stakeholders here becomes the parents of said children.
Yeah, I think not just the parents, I think the parent and the school, they're both very, very critical stakeholders. A lot of the child's self-esteem comes from the school.
Okay.
With this new thrust on inclusion and everybody being in classrooms together, which is neither good nor bad. But the thing is that then the child should not feel that I'm different. So everybody is sitting for IIT and engineering and medical, and then you look at this kid and say, okay, you go and be a musician. So I think anybody can go be a musician, whether you're a 90%er or a 20%er. So the role of the school and the parents both is very, very critical. And the role is to help the child identify what are the areas that he or she is truly good at and truly interested in.
So then, normally should parents or say the school counselor start considering what a kid will do? What is the timeline?
I think we should start definitely by the 10th. That's also a time when the child is making a choice of subjects at some level. So the 10th is ideally the best time to at least start exploring. Maybe not focusing, but at least start exploring. And both the school and the parents have to do it. Actually, the parents and the school should be in sync with each other, and they should be in contact with each other at all times.
And so how much of this discussion should the child be involved in?
Oh, I think the child should be involved in the discussion. It helps the child accept that, I'm different and so what? And maybe great, I'm different, because I have different options available to me. And so I think the child should be involved in the discussion right from the beginning.
No, but with the additional, with the stress of exams and finishing school and all of that,
So
wouldn't focusing on what they'll do next?
yeah, so that's
Add a
the
level.
parental role, because somewhere the anxiety of what next can actually become a negative. You know, you're not going to be able to focus on your exam because you're anxious about what next. So the what next should have been resolved with the parent and the child. So even if you're going to say that, you know, we will worry about it after the 12th, that's fine. But if you're going to worry about it after the 12th, the child should be comfortable with that thought.
So the easiest way to support a child in this situation is to be on the same page as them.
Or try and bring the child on the same page as you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there we go. So for students like this, what are the options after school?
You know, I personally think there are many options for students after school. All kinds of options are available for students after school, and the same options that are available to anybody else should be open to, I don't like this word, these children, but to kids with special needs, any kind of option is available. What is important for us to understand is that yes, maybe they cannot pursue a pure academic career, and that also is no fault of theirs. The fact that they cannot pursue a pure academic career is because the support is not available for them to pursue this pure academic career. I see no reason why a child who is dyslexic cannot be an engineer. That child can be an engineer. He has the ability to be an engineer. What's going wrong is that he does not have the support in an engineering college to pursue that course. That's the problem. So what is the option available? All options are available. We need to have a mass movement which allows for all kinds of support for children. However, if it's not going to be a purely academic career, then once you've identified the child's interests, then you have to help them find short-term courses, long-term courses, diplomas, certificates which do that. So I know, there was a child we worked with who was very good at music, but was unable to take an exam because just couldn't write. And even though she was supported, she didn't have the focus to go through that whole exam. The career for her is singing, and there's no harm in that career. There are kids who are brilliant at photography, and I don't think photography has any basic minimum qualification required. You don't have to be a graduate to be a photographer, you just have to be a great photographer. So these are the options. There are many options, and there are colleges which support children with learning disability today, and if I look at Delhi University, the Lady Irwin College supports learning disability completely. They have a whole center. So I think all colleges need to go that way.
So in these situations, for example, for parents, what is the best way for a parent to get informed on the topic, or rather who should the parent or counselor speak to about understanding the child better?
As I say that we are a society in transition and in many forms of transition. So we are also a society which is developing, and so there is no one single point of contact which will have all this information for the child or the parent. And I think we are still creating these resources, and that's what we are doing. We are charting the path, and that's what we need to be doing. So I think as parents start to get information, as counselors begin to get information, as teachers begin to get information, they need to pool these resources together. However, there are organizations which already have these resources. So there are directories which are available. Delhi University actually allows you all the support. It's just that nobody pushes them, so they don't do it. So I think that's what is required.
Okay. So essentially it's more of a push to make systems that already exist function to begin with.
Yes.
And then start.
And to make those systems function, you have to know what are those systems.
Yeah.
So I think that responsibility does lie with the parent.
No, but for example, for parents, particularly for younger children, when they've just discovered something like this, it's a very daunting task understanding. First they have to cope with it themselves, then they have to explain it to the child. So over there, when should they start considering?
So, I really feel that by the time the child is in the 10th, 11th, 12th, and maybe even college, the parent has dealt with it. And I'm hoping coped with it by then. So you're ready to take the next challenge, which is to make this child gainfully employed and independent. That's the ultimate thing you want. You want the child to be happy and you want the child to be independent. And when I say independent, I also mean financially independent. So that's very important, to be financially independent. And for that, I think everybody has to get in together. The parent can't do it alone. They need support from the school. They need support from the school counselors to understand. I think it's very hard for a learning disabled child because, well, this may not sound really nice, but it's the truth. They look like anybody else. And so if you don't understand that what is that disability, you're constantly making comments like, why can't she do it? She looks fine. She may look fine, but she can't read. So I think that the school and the school counselors have to support the child. That's very important. So where should a parent go? The parent should go to the school.
Okay.
That's where the parent should go. It's just go to the school. And the school should help to find more things for the parent.
And where do the career counselors in schools go? I mean, is there a way they can form, say, mentorship or someone
Absolutely.
they can outreach for?
So, the larger organizations like NIPCCCD, they do testing for special needs and to help you understand what your career options can be. So, I think they should go there and find out, counselors should go there.
Yeah. So, in today's day and age, what are the alternate career paths that people can take?
The world is changing, and we are calling them alternate career paths only because they're not engineering and they're not medicine and they're not MBA or CA. So we are calling them alternate career paths. But as the world opens out, the career options are changing for children. So there is lots and lots of things which are available to kids today, special needs or no special needs. But things which do not require a technical qualification or a higher degree. So pure research may be out. They can't do pure research. But things like event management, things like fashion, things like design, whether it's interiors, whether it's exteriors, whether it's garment, things like accessory management. All of this is open to children today. So there are lots of colleges also which are coming up, which I think support this. And maybe we could also put up a list of colleges which are going to support things like this. Liberal art colleges, so the Flame University in Pune, that's an excellent university and it supports all kinds of options. The stigma will break on things like polytechnics. So it's not that you've been to a polytechnic, but if you look at the courses which are available at polytechnics, they are very, very hands-on courses. And a child with, let's say, dyslexia or dyscalculia or dysgraphia is just a child who's going to find it hard to read and write. But that child can do everything else just like anybody else. So maybe a course at a polytechnic which is a hands-on course. Music, dance, art therapy, dance therapy, creative dance, creative movement, singing, fitness, photography, acting, theatre.
All things.
There is just so much available. Event management itself gets spread into so many things. Fashion designing, not just as a fashion garment designer, but a fashion show designer. Sound management, light management.
All of that.
All of that. Mass communication. All of that is available to children, all kinds of children. And hands-on courses, anything which is hands-on, I feel is perfect for kids with special needs.
Okay, so what advice would you give to a parent whose kid has just been diagnosed? When they come to you and say, "Mera beta kya karega?"
मुझसे बहुत कुछ कर सकता है, बहुत कुछ कर सकती है और बहुत कुछ करेंगे. Because actually, they have a fantastic world view. They just don't have a textbook view. That's what they can't do. But beyond that, they can do everything. And I think that's what is critical. So what's very important is that the parent and the school needs to believe in that child. And the parent needs to believe in that child. That so what if she can't read, so what if she can't do math? There's lots more that she can do and there is lots more that is available to her. But yes, maybe they're not going to get an IIT degree. Maybe they're not going to go to IIM Ahmedabad. But who cares, and I think who needs them?
Yeah.
So I feel there's lots available to these kids.
So what are you currently working on?
So what am I currently working on? I'm currently working on designing holistic curriculums for schools. So all of this actually gets covered in that. A holistic curriculum is a curriculum which helps a child explore his or her own potential.
So individual
Absolutely.
planning per student. All right.
That's critical. And you know, schools should start keeping a track of kids so that they know what are the things that this child is good at. And small things, annual days show you what a child is good at. Organizing in the school, you know, organizing an event, a parent-teacher meeting, organizing sports days for junior school. These are things which tell you what a child is good at. You go out at a picnic, you'll see what your kids are good at. And those are the skills which have to be, you know, zeroed in on while you're helping the child pick a career.
Okay.
Focus on what that child can do rather than what the child can't do. Because what he can't do or what she can't do doesn't matter in any case.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
All right then. Oh, thank you.
Welcome.